call this do-over. The 3 videos I put up, the intro, Japanese opening move, and then turn 1, there was a lot of errors and mistakes. So instead of constantly going back and trying to fix them, I decided to just put up a video with an opening move and turn 1, basically, maybe turn 2, but and reading the rules. Hopefully I fixed a lot of the errors, and I learned a couple things. One, in China, because the victory points are based on historical victories, such as the Japanese, they need 25 for a decisive victory. Well, all the ones they should take puts them like at 21. That means they need 4 more somewhere, just like in the historical view. If they take everything they had and they hold on to the end, they can still win. But if you want that decisive victory, you have to do more than what they did. That means you either have to come down to Australia in the bottom, you have to go into India, you have to get over to America, or you go into China. So in that regards, it seems like the mainland Asia is probably the way to go. But I'm still under the impression that on the first turn I don't want to attack. I can't have things not go well and losing steps because I have too many other resupply problems I need to do. So I'm still under the impression that we're going to hold up there, only I'm going to defend Peking a little better. Also, I'll probably put a little more pressure on the Americans. So with that being said, we're going to do our opening moves again. Now, I like to start right here, just for people watching. It's easy. You take these 2 and you go into Burma. Now, last time I fought it, I was giving them the jungle defense, the double defense, but in the special scenario 1941, you don't get special defense, so that's going to help out. That'll go there. I take these ships and we take care of the Singapore issue. And then I'm going to invade either Borneo or Singapore. The question is, which one do I want to invade and get a hold of first? Which I think Singapore would be more important. And then we can worry about coming down here after. So this infantry is only a step 2, so I'm going to put them in Siam. And I'm going to use the infantry from Hanoi, and we're going to activate the Army headquarters, and we got to use 2 steps for that invasion. So he'll go down to a 2 and he's activated. I'm going to go ahead and take this cruiser and go after this. I can't even remember what's there, and I'm not going to go cheat and look it up, because if you play the rules where you can switch stuff, you wouldn't know what he put there anyways. But I'm going to leave that at that. Now everything else that we're going to use, we're just going to fly into Manila there. I think my shipping here is going to go ahead and take care of this one at Davao. And I'm thinking about using, well, we'll think about that in a minute. But if I use 2 on the Marine, and let's get on Manila. Now, of course, Manila could be up to you. Do you just want to attack the ships and you blockade it after? Once the ships are destroyed, your ships can stay there and blockade, and then he is cut off. And then they will die the following turn. Also, if MacArthur's cut off and the Allies decide to destroy him, it takes 1 turn for him to be built. I decided to go ahead and invade it because I want the production points. Because we need production points here as the Japanese. I'm going to go ahead and fly this Air Force into here. We're going to go ahead and put these 2 into here. And remember, what's more important too is pinning. So I'll think about the invasion with the Marine here. I might do it. I think everything else here, this has to stay, only I'm going to support this a little bit stronger, because I don't think we just need anything in Seoul right now. We're going to support this a little bit stronger, and I'm definitely going to spend one more point, and I'm going to move a infantry unit, this one, onto Peking. That's the way I want that one established. And I think I'll use its last one and move another infantry into Canton. Now this force here, I really want to take care of. I'm going to use another naval point, and I'm sending this sub, who can move double now, into here as a raid. So this is going to be a raid, but I think I'm also going to hit it with the point of sending the other ships in is I want that carrier dead and even hurt the cruiser if I can. But if I send the other ships into battle, then I pin him and they can't move. So the raider is going to be able to pick his target. Now, it is true the ships from Hawaii can reinforce that battle, but I just might run in the second round. I'm just there to get that carrier, really. So out here, we're raiding with that, we're attacking with those two, and then we're going to do an invasion, one more step off the Navy. So I still have one step with the Navy. And then, let's go ahead and do some rebasing. I don't want to hang out battleships to dry, especially with some stuff he may have to raid with. I'm going to go ahead and put this battleship here. I'm going to bring this out to here. I think I'm going to go ahead and not do Guam. And instead use it all for the Philippines. Use the last one. So I used all 8 steps. And we have 3 invasions. And I like the way this looks. Remember, we can always land an air back there and an air back there, so I think I'm okay. Alright. Well, it looks like I can't... Just thinking of this because I keep thinking of maybe some other games where I move, then the other side will move, and then I will reinforce or even build up before we battle. But I got to get used to it that, no, I move, then they move and attack. So I can't leave one block there. So I've got to put some more pieces in there. And so I'm looking what to do here is change some moves and get 2 pieces on Hanoi. And I'd probably like 2 on Saigon. So I was still deciding here because I don't like the way this defense looks. I put a plane back instead of moving them over here. I rebased, and I think I'm not going to move this one out. Or this one came from Siam. I think I'm going to put it in here. I can leave this open, I believe. Except if this guy is allowed to retreat, he can go into there. But it's not worth any points. They can't invade because Wavell don't have any SMs. If this guy wants to retreat, obviously he can, but I think I just need to hold on to Hanoi right now. So with this setup, it's the best I can do. What can the Chinese do? We have to hit somewhere. I can take 2 guys into that. Or I can move 1, 2, 3, 4 into that, go 4 on 4. Oh, my bad, they are doubled because they are major bases. Well, I think I want to support this. Kunming could be threatened next. We're going to have to buy our Chinese guy. Yeah, you know what? I don't think the Chinese have a really viable attack. I think I need to stay strong here. A little. We can use Chiang Kai-shek to help defend here. And get an infantry in there, and then hopefully we still survive with this guy. Let me do that. That'll be the Chinese move. So, we went on my first go around attacking here, and then even possibly here because that only had 2 blocks. But with this defense, I'm seeing that none of it seems pretty plausible. Now the British, I think I like this guy here. So we can get down to Colombo. Matter of fact, I think I'll just move him into Colombo. Let's hold on to that. Let's put this guy in Dhaka. We'll keep Wavell and Calcutta. My cruiser in Colombo, I'm always thinking if I should go and support Singapore, but I don't think it's a good idea. He doesn't join till the second round. By then, I can already be down 1 ship, and it just allows the Japanese opportunity to sink more ships. And I'm always in the more mindset of let's retreat, farther out, force the Japanese to move farther out, but as we retreat farther out, we can build up our forces. So that's why I don't bring the cruiser into Singapore. Australia seems simple enough still. These guys are pretty much staying here. You can double move these to Cairns. I can rebase him to Darwin. Let's bring a plane and double move to Townsend. I don't think I'm threatened down here. Let's bring them both to Townsville. Let's get them up in the game. The Americans. If you watch my other videos, you saw my thinking on Nimitz here. Now, since he can't move, he's stuck. But we do have a battle going on here, and I'm not going to go down without a fight. So we are going to help out with this and with this. Heck, I might as well move that in. I'm going to take all these into here. If we go after this and I invaded Tarawa, he can send a cruiser or a sub, anything. He can just blockade Tarawa. That means I'm out of supply and I'm going to lose a step. Yeah, looking at this now, this is getting strung out here and it's easy to blockade it. Can't do it. Even though I want this bad. And I found out in raids, that's another thing, I can only raid with 1 unit. And if you watch my other video, I put 2 in there. That means this carrier is probably going to slip away. And I don't like that. So, as you'll see too, I've left the video off what I was doing here because I do not want this carrier to escape. So what I did was spend 1 SM still on the submarine raid, put it in there, and then I sent the other sub in there as an attack. So now what I did was we pinned both ships, so he cannot move one away. Now on the American turn, he can reinforce that battle. And I know I keep saying he, but meaning I would reinforce it. So on the raid selects its target, and we happen to sink the carrier. That's the chance I'll take. It's a 2 carrier. I get 3 dice. I need 2s or less. And then the raid returns.
back to his base, and then the other sub is now in a battle. The first round, it's my sub, because the forces from Hawaii are reinforcing. They won't join to the second round, and then my sub retreated. So that's what I decided to do there. I'm going after that carrier, but I pinned his forces. And then I didn't invade Tarawa. I decided to invade Wake. So now I own Wake and the Marshalls there at Kawajawan, and that's where I put my 2 fleets. And I'm showing a strong front against the Americans. And then on the second turn, when I could move my carrier strike fleet, it's moving in that direction.
So I didn't have the camera on doing my attacks here. The Japanese, we retreated the sub. I decided to fight another day. Why not retreat and hold up here? This one I could have retreated here to help support a battle here if I need to, but I'm forcing him to spend 2 SMs if he wants Palembang next turn. That's why I went there. But this is a nice little force, you know, against this force. As the British, I'm just going to spend some points and get some British back here and hold these spots. The Manila, I waited till the 3rd turn to bring the infantry on, but it took 3 rounds and I destroyed the plane, MacArthur, and the infantry. They were only 1 steps, and the sub ended up retreating. I retreat because, again, I'm going to live to fight another day.
And one thing I'm not sure if I still was doing was aircraft and shore bombardment cannot eliminate a 1-step infantry unit. They can reduce it to 1, but they can't go any further. Only ground units
Okay,
can.
so let's continue with the rest of the fighting. The planes that were here, I landed 1 here, reinforced that, and I landed 1 here. So you can see here, I'm pretty all set. Look at this power right here. We are set to keep expanding and dealing with the Chinese next turn. This force out here is set to deal with the Americans. We got to get into a battle. Unfortunately, I couldn't move this, but next turn we will be moving out. And we're going to have a battle sooner than later. That's just what I believe we need to do. If anything, it keeps him on the defensive a little bit. And I must admit, I don't have the exact greatest first turn laid out for the Americans, because I don't really study them a whole lot, because basically they will just start overpowering the Japanese. You can make a lot of mistakes with the Americans and probably still win. That's what I'm guessing. The Japanese, every little mistake you make or every little advantage you don't give yourself, you're going to lose. So Wake is taken. Let's go ahead and start these battles. Let's start here. With the carrier, it's only a 1-step, and we need to hit the carrier. If we don't hit with the carrier, he will fall. He will retreat. Oh, and we get a 3. Nice. I'm glad we got that, because again, all he's going to do is back up and reinforce down here, and he'll have a nice little navy there that I got to deal with. Nice little navy here, nice little navy here. That's why you see it as the Americans, just reinforcing. You know, back up and reinforce. Let's go ahead and do this one. This one, it's a cruiser, so the sub, he ain't going to stay and fight. He's going to make them fight for Java. Just the same thing as here. If you want to go after these, you're going to have to spend SMs. So, it looks like that is the end of turn 1 combat. Let's do some logistics. Let's start with the Chinese. Now the Chinese have 4. So I built a para, People's Republic Army, and put two steps with it. So that was 2 points. I can't build up this guy because you can only do 2 steps there. Then I built 1 Chinese, put him in Chongqing. I could do an extra step there, which, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if the British send them 1, and the Americans send them 1, it costs 2 to send, 2 to send, and they can do it because they own Dhaka. The Chinese receive 2 production points, and we're going to add one step to this plane. So we're all built up with the Chinese because we can't let the Japanese overpower them. All right, let's move to the British. Now the British start with
17 production points. Now, as far as their supply goes, it comes from South Africa, and it can go from Colombo, Bombay, Palembang. Australia goes from Perth and down there at the bottom. Everybody's in supply there. Everybody in the Americas are in supply, so we're good there. As far as the production goes, they lost one at Singapore, and they lost one at Burma. So that brings them from 17 to 15, and then they sent a production to China through Dhaka, and that cost them 2 production points to send them 1. So they have 13 production points. And I'm going to go ahead and spend 2 on Wavell. We're going to build that up for 1 step in that major city. And I'm going to build an infantry. It's a 1 step. That's all that can be done there. That's the 2 steps from there. So we built that up. That takes us to 10.
and we can put these in a major base, so we'll put one here. 10, 9. Let's put 4 on the carrier. So that's 5 left. We can't do any more steps there, but we can do one here. Put one here. So we spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 and 4 is 11. 2 that we lost for 13. And 2 we gave to the Chinese for 15. Let's go 16, 17. Alright? That should be a major base. Yes, it is. So we can spend 2 steps there. So the British are done. Okay. Now since we can't move Nimitz out, Americans start with 25, but they lost Manila, so they have 24. They spent 2 to the Chinese. They have 23. So I'm going to give him 2 steps. I have to, and I know he's in Hawaii. That means I'm not building up anything else here. But I mean, just the way it is. We're going to go like that. So 24 goes down to 20. This can go up 2. Goes down to 18. We'll go ahead and spend 3 on this. We're going to go to 15. Built up. Remember, I can build steps here. 15. 14. 13. And I'm going to put 2 on this. It's going to cost me 8. It's going to take me down to 5. But I'm going 2 steps on the carrier. I got 5 left. I can build a step here. Let's do it. Cost me 2. Down to 3. Let's just build up 3. Oh, I can't build any more there. 3. 2. 2 left. Let's spend it there. 2 steps. Alright. Americans spent everything they could. But look at, we're part of what I'm seeing is we're building up in Panama, we're building up here, we built up here. The problem is Nimitz, I'm going to send to San Francisco, and now next turn I will be able to always build up Nimitz. I'll be able to always build up stuff in Hawaii, always in Panama, and always in San Diego. And there you're building more and more over the board. And this is the kind of time as a Japanese player I don't want to give the Americans, but I didn't want to get hung out to dry here because he could easily block me off. Just because this group is out of position, I'm going to move them up this turn. But let's do the Japanese. Oh, one thing I did forget was building MacArthur. We got a Bill MacArthur. I'm going to build them in Karen's too. We got to at least do them 2 steps. Now the rule is if I remove him because he got eliminated by supply, he wouldn't be able to come on this turn. But I had to invade Manila because I want to take the most money I could on the first turn, and that's really the only place where I can get it. So the Japanese only start with 14, but they do go up 3.
So as the Japanese, my first priority was to build up the forces along Asia, at least make everything 2 steps. You got to have 2 steps, especially if you're defending in the jungle, because then it takes 4 hits to get rid of them. But I built up a couple to, one. But the most important ones was the Soryu. I spent 4 production points moving that up to a 2 step, and the battleship Yamamoto, I spent 3 on that, moving that up to a 2. So you could see out there at the Marshalls and Wake, we're going to have a pretty good strike force. And also, of course, I spent 4 each on our Supreme Headquarters to make them 2 steps each.
Now looking at the board, it looks all pretty uniform, right? Everything's nice. You know, that's the way I like to play, so I guess I done it with both sides. But I don't think too much would have changed on the first turn. Either these pieces would be dead, or they retreat, just like here, or they would have died. I think out here, I don't think the Americans would have done much else here except try to fight right here. He has no Supreme Headquarters with any movement on the first turn. It ain't like he can bring stuff in. I mean, he could have rebased this carrier, but the way I'm doing it, I built up Nimitz here and rebased the carrier there. And built up the carrier there. And then I'm going to switch them this turn. So as the Japanese, the only thing I'm wondering about on the first turn is somehow invading Borneo also. And that way I have a jumping off point from here to get to Java. Other than that, I can't reach Java this turn. I would have liked to have all of this in 2 turns. But as it is now, I'm just going to go for Palembang. And because he defended it, it's going to cost my army commander 2 points, and that's all he has. So once again, Tojo is spent. And we take this guy and we invade. I still hang out here. Plus I'm pinning them.
At this point in the game, you kind of really need another player, because it's the flavor of the player of what he's really going to do and how aggressive he's going to get. I like to move out methodically, but you will see here that I do go at Singapore. He has some ships there, and I'm going to keep fighting the ships and sinking the ships. And you see I go out after Sumatra, and I invade it because Palembang's the only one I can get. I was trying to think of a way where I can get into Java if I did something differently on the first turn, but there is no way. So on the second turn, I'm just going after ships, and I'll have everything the Japanese is supposed to have except Java. But maybe there's some real rework you can do to get better at it. And then you're going to see I moved my carrier strike force 3 hexes out, because you can rebase, double movement, and you can go to neutral hexes. And that's a neutral hex where I put it. Well, there are black islands. I think those aren't anybody's. But I didn't want to go right next to them. I want to stay close to my units. Especially the Americans are going to go first on the third turn, and I can support my units with those 3 hexes there. But you'll also see I attacked the submarine at Midway and the plane. I went after them. I'm just going to kill every, I'm going after all American shipping I can. And we are going to put ourselves to look for that decisive battle that I've been talking about. And putting my fleet out there is showing him I want this decisive battle. Now, whether an American player would come out and fight me or not, I don't know. But on the Americans' buildup, when I built up Nimitz, 2 steps, I built up the battleship and the carrier in Panama. I built up the carrier in San Diego. So, on the American second turn, Nimitz will spend his 2 SMs. He's going to move himself to San Francisco, and then he's going to move a battleship out of Panama into Hawaii, and I'm going to move the carrier there. So the Americans are going to have a force, and we're getting ready for that big battle that we're looking for, the Japanese are looking for, and as an American I would be looking for, because if things don't go well, I can build faster than them. For the Japanese, if things go well for them, then that's good. They're just buying themselves more time. And then you can see in the east, we are pushing against India and the Money Islands. But let me also say that you can move pieces out of, let's say, Singapore or Philippines, your infantry, to keep advancing them and hold those major bases you took with an airplane or a ship. The rule is you can't change the possession without an infantry. However, once you do own it, you can maintain position without the infantry. So, beyond this point, I think the game would have to be in the flavor of the players and how aggressive they are or what their strategy is. But I just wanted to show 1 or 2 turns to beginners like me to give them a start in this game, because it sure took me a while to figure it out. And the more games you play, the better we'll get. So hopefully I find a player and we can have a good game. Thanks.